Good morning, viewer. Welcome to our Fossil TV. Here's the breaking news from China. Yes, 2022 was supposed to be a triumphant year for China and its leader Xi Jinping, as he began his second decade in power with the pledge to restore the nation to greatness. Instead, China had its most difficult year under Xi's rule as it reeled from its costly zero-COVID policy from months of overzealous enforcement that crushed the economy and stoked historic public discontent to a wholesale abandonment so abrupt that left a fragile health system scrambling to cope with an explosion of cases. The chaos and disarray is a stark contrast to the strength of the year, when Beijing showcased the success of its COVID containment measures by keeping the coronavirus largely at bay from the Winter Olympics. Over the span of a year, this hallmark pandemic policy has turned from a source of legitimacy for the ruling Communist Party into a sprawling crisis that threatens to undermine it, as an unprecedented wave of infections and deaths sweeps the country. Many have questioned why, after sacrificing so much under zero COVID and waiting for so long to reopen, the government ultimately let the virus rip through a population with little prior warning or preparation. As 2022 draws to close, look back at 5 key events of the year for China's zero COVID policy. The Games, Beijing Winter Olympics. The Games proved to be resounding success for China's zero COVID strategy. In its tightly sealed, meticulously managed Olympic bubble, ubiquitous face masks, endless spraying of disinfectant and rigorous daily testing paid off. Any infected visitors arriving in the country were swiftly identified and their cases contained, allowing the Winter Olympics to run largely free of COVID even as the Omicron variant raged around the world. The success added to the party's narrative that its political system is superior to those of Western democracies in handling the pandemic, a message Xi had repeatedly driven home as he prepared for a third term in power. Another sudden lockdown, but it did not take long for Omicron to seep through the cracks of zero COVID. By mid-March, China was battling its worst COVID outbreak since the initial wave of the pandemic, reporting thousands of new cases a day from northern Zhejiang province to Guangdong in the south. Third, Party Congress. As the party's all-important National Congress approached, the pressure only grew. Having tied himself so closely to zero COVID, Xi was stuck in a trap of his own making. Yes, he could not afford to move away from it. The potential surge of infections and deaths posing to great a risk to his authority before he secured his numb-shattering third term at the Congress. Nationwide protests as restrictions tightened, more suffering and tragedy emerged from unrelenting lockdowns. Migrant workers abandoned a lockdown Foxconn factory and mass walking for miles to escape an outbreak at China's largest iPhone assembling site. A 3-year-old boy died of gas poisoning in lockdown after he was blocked from being taken promptly to a hospital. A 4-month-old girl died in hotel quarantine after a 12-hour delay in medical care. Haphazard reopening. In an apparent effort to appease protesters, some cities began to loosen restrictions. Beyond the report, Fossil TV.